Thank you, Madam Chair. So appreciative of your leadership in convening this hearing. Ms. Gasson Wilson, thank you for being, Williams, thank you for being here today. BlackRock has an office in Boston, as you well know, and employs some of my constituents. And the well-being of my constituents is very important to me. Over the last year, many brave employees and former employees have come forward to share their experiences of sexism, sexual harassment, and racism at BlackRock. These stories are deeply troubling. Esma Bengambizia, an Arab American Muslim woman, was mocked for using a standard Muslim greeting, repeatedly bullied, threatened with sexual harassment, and called un-American. A Black woman was sexually harassed by her manager. Latinx and Black employees have been called aggressive. A Black gay employee was told to, quote, not be too flamboyant, unquote. Your head of international and corporate strategy, Mark Weidman, has been identified as notorious for making inappropriate comments, especially towards women, yet he remains in a leadership position. The problem is clearly a systemic one. Hiring women and people of color into a hostile environment where they promptly leave traumatized is not the progress that we're aiming for. In fact, it's not progress at all. Ms. Gaston Williams, according to your testimony, BlackRock has increased the diversity of its new hires. I'm interested to know if these new hires are sticking around. Is the retention rate for Black and Brown employees as high as the retention rate for white employees?
Thank you for your question, Representative Pressley. So the events that you're speaking of and recounted in recent reports have absolutely no place at BlackRock, and we've taken some actions to build a more inclusive work environment within our firm. And some of the activities that we've done in response to those claims is improving training for all employees, providing discussion venues to raise concerns, increasing accountability for inclusivity, including among our senior leaders and managers who have an obligation to ensure that we are creating the right kind of environment to address non-inclusive behavior when they see it. So to answer the second part of your question, I do not have those stats in front of me at the moment, but I will revert back to you and your office on those statistics around retention of women and or people of color.
Yes, and specifically, is there a retention gap? And how disparate is it according to white employees? And so, as the chair mentioned earlier, for all of the data points that we're seeking, there'll be a timeline. And so we eagerly await your response. What about the retention rate for women versus men?
Again, Representative, I don't have those stats in front of me at the moment. I would rather come back to you with firm statistics and data to support this conversation. So we will revert back to your office with that information in due course.
Okay. And what about, would you happen to have any information on promotion rates? Are the promotion rates for the new hires who are women and people of color as high as white male employees? And are they being hired into management or revenue generating roles at the same rate as administrative roles? I'm just building upon what Chairwoman Waters was alluding to and your earlier testimony and saying that there needs to be a paradigm shift, and one that you certainly want to be leading is that diversity is not about counting heads, but it's really about inclusion. And we also care about promotion and wealth building, especially since there is such a large racial wealth gap, and that certainly abounds in my district. So can you speak to any of those promotion rates or where people are being hired into? Are they in administrative roles, management, or revenue generating roles?
Year over year, we have seen increases in terms of diverse talent pipelines from women, people of color, particularly Black professionals and Latinx professionals. I do not have the specific data that you're requesting to cite at this moment, but we will revert back to you with that information. But I can confidently say, based on our pipeline efforts and initiatives that we have in place, from recruiting, retention, promotions. We have annual talent reviews that are meaningful. I think we have all the right systems and processes in place to ensure that year over year we are making meaningful, substantive changes in those areas and making sure
Thank
that
you.
women and/or
Claiming my
people of
time.
sorry.
Claiming my time. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get one more question in on the record, and we look forward to your getting that to us. I spoke with a former BlackRock employee who told me the firm has offered victims of sexism or racism a severance benefits package tied to an NDA, which prohibits them from speaking publicly about their experience or suing for any
I'm
reason.
sorry, the
Employees
gentlewoman
from
from
lower
Massachusetts, your time has expired.